Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to what I'm starting to dub the greatest show on Tube. We've had the greatest show on Turf, so we're going to be the greatest show on Tube. So we'll see how that catches on with everybody. Probably it's not going to catch on real well, but we're going to give it a try. Just back with another episode tonight on our Tuesday evening. We're just kind of be bouncing around a bunch of stuff tonight. We're going to be all over the place. Some NBA, some football, college football, a little bit of World Cup thrown in there. Just you name it, we're going to be on it today. This is just a general sports show. Anybody in the stream, be sure to please drop questions or comments. If you got anything you want us to talk about, we'll definitely hit on it. I'm going to be your host for the night, SEC Sean. I brought along, we got our glorious Robert from WTP for Life over here. He's going to join us tonight to get into some good discussion. What's going on over there? How you feeling tonight?
I'm good, SEC Sean. Good to be here tonight on this fine Tuesday. The weather is beautiful. Sun is starting to go down, but I'm excited for this broadcast we got tonight. I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, for sure. Want to also let everybody know that's tuned in, we're going to have a poll going where the poll is going to be, I just asked, who is your number one draft pick? And you've got four options. You've got AJ Dybantsa, Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer, or other. So I always want to leave an other spot because they only give you four options to put in. So we'll go with I went with the top three in mock drafts that you see, and then just do another. So that's going to be up and going. We're going to move it. I don't know where we're going to move it to. There, we'll move it up there. There, it's not blocking anybody's face. Maybe we should move it to block my face. I don't know, but we'll figure that out another day. So without further ado, let's see if we got anybody now. We will jump into this right now. Something we were talking about earlier today. With the Lakers season coming to an abrupt end, what should their plans be for the future with LeBron and even Bronny? What do you think their plan should be? Do you think that's a package deal? Give me your takes on that one real quick, Rob. What are you thinking about that?
I definitely feel like the Los Angeles Lakers should part ways with LeBron James. I feel like you got a player who is in his early 40s, who's been in the league for quite a while. I'm not sure if Bronny James is actually going to ever become NBA material to the point where he will be a player who can get in someone's starting rotation. So if I'm them, I understand that the market value for having a guy like LeBron James is pretty high because he's a marketable person and a marketable NBA player. But I think it's time for them to part ways with him. Let him go ahead and find him a new home and to do his farewell tour. And I would like to see him go to the Cleveland Cavaliers, go back home, and go ahead and do your farewell tour there. That was the team who we really feel like LeBron James became LeBron James, the king. So I would like to see them part ways with him. I would not sign him to another deal, and I would probably send him and Bronny on their way to some other destination.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I mean, I think a lot of this hinges too if LeBron even wants to play another year. We'll have to wait on that decision. And if we've learned anything about LeBron, we know that he'll probably have an ESPN show to announce his decision. Just because that seems to be his thing. So I would get it if he comes back. I think if he comes back and he says this is the final year going to Cleveland, probably makes sense. The problem is who's going to want to pay what he might be asking for knowing it's 1 year. So I think it's kind of going to be an interesting thing as it plays out. I agree with you on Bronny. I think Bronny is a serviceable NBA player, but he's not. I don't see him ever cracking the starting five. I could see him as maybe a very minor role player on a team, but I think the Lakers would be best to kind of part ways with both and move in a different direction. Build around Luka and Reeves out there, I think is probably going to be their best option.
Yeah.
So, sticking with the NBA theme, jumping over, let's go to the other side of the rivalry. Should the Celtics look to get rid of either Tatum or Brown? If so, which one?
I definitely believe that the Boston Celtics is going to have to part ways with one of those two guys. They're really almost interchangeable at Boston. They basically do the same things. It's just Tatum is a better defender than probably Jaylen Brown is. He can do a little bit more than what Brown can do. But if I had to keep one or the other, I would probably keep Brown because I don't know where Tatum's health is going to be going forward. The uncertainty of Tatum's health is the reason why I would go with Brown over Tatum. And I feel like Brown this year, when he had to be the guy who led the Celtics, did one heck of a job while Tatum was not there. So if I had to part ways with one of them, it would be Tatum, like I said earlier, because of the uncertainty of his health going forward. You on mute, Sean.
This is where I was going with this, was pretty much the same thing you said. If you get rid of one, I think I'd get rid of Tatum due to the simple fact of what happened while he was out all year. Brown kept that team right in the mix. I mean, weren't they like, before Tatum came back, he still had them sitting at the 2 seed in the East?
2 seed, yep.
So, you know, I don't know. Maybe Boston tries to figure out how to keep it together for another year or so, see what happens. But I think you're getting to the point that they're going to have to split them. And I agree. I'm keeping Brown over Tatum. Like we said, he kept him in the mix without Tatum. I mean, you don't know. So I'm going to have to say I agree with that 100%. Doug's getting way ahead of the questions. Look, Doug, if you're going to join, you're going to have to follow the routine, man. Quit getting ahead. Get out of here. And that wasn't an option, by the way. Starting to get way. Look at him. So yeah, that's really all I had going. Well, I do have another question on it, but I'm going to save that one actually because I don't even know, to be honest, how this poll thing is going to work. So we're just going to get into this one now. This is the same kind of question the poll is actually. The draft lottery was this past weekend, and the Wizards did the best job at tanking and got the number 1 overall pick. Is AJ the clear number 1, do you think? AJ,
no, I don't think he's the clear number 1. I think he's definitely one of maybe 3 or 4 options for the Wizards to pick at number 1. If I had to give a percentage to the higher percentage to one of those players, I would probably think it would be Boozer, would be the one that will end up in a Wizards uniform next season. But AJ would not be a bad pick. I mean, that's a guy who could play multiple positions. His game, I think, is suited for the NBA. But I really do believe Boozer probably has the highest percentage chance of getting that number 1, being that number 1 pick to go to the Wizards.
Yeah, I think I think Debanza, I mean, I'm not saying he's the clear number one. I think he's going to be the pick, but we've talked about this numerous times on other streams that this class coming out is loaded with those freshmen coming out. I mean, Boozer, the kid from Arizona, what is it, Burries? I don't know how to pronounce his name, sorry. And that's sad because they project him to go to the Mavericks, so I guess I better learn his name. You got Acuff out of Arkansas. I mean, you got all these. I don't know that there is a clear-cut number one. I think it's just what do you need, and you're going to get a solid player. Everybody probably in the draft lottery is getting somebody really solid, in my mind, based on this class of youth we have going into the draft. So, and some of the guys that have decided to return to college, like all the Florida guys, Tommy Howell and all of them are going back to Florida. So that kind of threw a wrench in a little bit too. But just kind of something I thought about, wanted to bring it up, being that, the NBA playoffs are going on and we want to go. Our buddy Doug stayed on topic this time. AJ is the guy. So we all know that Moss from Level Up Sports believes AJ is the guy too. So, I didn't even see Zay's comment. What do you say? Let me put that in. I think you put it up already. Wiz going Peterson because they are a poorly ran franchise. Yeah, maybe. That wouldn't surprise me. So this one is some news that broke yesterday. This next question, we're going to shift over to the world of college football real quick. And you actually brought this up to me in a text earlier. And I thought it was a really legitimate point. And I've got an example of this. With the recent shooting of Missouri star running back Ahmad Hardy at a concert, should colleges be allowed to put something in these NIL contracts that limit off-campus or extra? I don't want to say extracurricular because that includes like athletics, but events and activities off campus that aren't, I guess, more secured by the staff or whatever. Do you think they should?
I definitely think that there should be some kind of language in these NIL contracts, especially when you got guys who go home. And there's nothing wrong with going home, but if you're going to go home and go to concerts or be hanging out at parties and stuff, because you know that's going to happen, it got to be some kind of language in there that, because you're making an investment in this young man and you don't want anything to happen to them. But we know that there are people out there, and we've seen so many cases of a guy going back home or going to another city, maybe even going to another city with one of his teammates, and something happening to them. And I just feel like in the best interest of those players and in the best interest of the investment that you're making in that young person, because Ahmad Hardy is probably the key player for this Missouri team. He's considered one of the best running backs in college football, maybe even the number one running back in college football this year in 2026. There got to be some kind of language in there to protect your investment and to protect that player. I think they almost have to think about that and go in some kind of direction to see that through.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do. There's got to be something. The example I was going to mention is, I'm a big NASCAR guy, and we've had a couple of drivers break their leg while snowboarding. One in the middle of the season, at the beginning of the season, and one last year, Brad Keselowski broke his leg while skiing. And some of the team owners, your Roger Penske's and people like that, do put in these contracts when these drivers sign these contracts You are not to do anything outside of this race car that could be deemed hazardous, because that's an investment to those people. And these athletes, these college guys wanted to get paid. They wanted all this. Well, that's part of being paid, is you have contracts, and in contracts, there's writing in there to make it, how it needs to be. I'm not saying these guys can do nothing but sit on the couch and watch football and play football and practice. I'm not saying that. But there needs to be something, I think. I don't know how you go about it legally, but there's people that are way smarter than me that could probably figure it out.
Man, I feel like for your short window of getting paid in sports, you should be okay with putting yourself on the shelf while you make that money. It's just, to me, I just feel like that's common sense, that you want to protect yourself, and you're probably your family's greatest investment when you get to this level, as Ahmaad Hardy has gotten. And I don't know what his family situation is like, but I do know this: a player of that caliber is destined to make some serious money.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you had said he's one of the best running backs in the country, and there's no doubt on that coming back. In fact, in the SEC, it's probably between him and Lacey, maybe even Ball down in Florida, as the best returners in that conference. Those are the three best running backs, and that are returning from last year. So, I hope the kid's okay. It sounds like he's going to make a recovery. And that's really the main thing, is it wasn't more serious than it could have been. But I agree. I think something's going to get done pretty soon, with that whole incident.
Yeah, you just gave me a slight nightmare right there when you mentioned those three running backs, because Texas got to play all three of them jokers.
Yeah, we get Missouri. We don't get Ole Miss. We miss Ole Miss. We miss Florida. So we get Missouri. But, I'd rather play one of them than all three of them. So, especially if you get them all three back to back to back, that would be, man, your D line's going to be pounded on. So,
yeah,
we'll see where it goes from there. But we're going to get more into the running back stuff. It's going to be a couple weeks down the road. Just a little quick teaser for everybody. I'm going to be doing a show one Tuesday coming up in a few weeks, where we're going to rank our top 5 to 10 players at each position in college football. That should spark some pretty good conversation, I think, for us. And it might be broken up to where we do offense one week, defense the next week. So we'll figure all that out. But just a little teaser for everybody to look forward to. Something in the works. Jump back over here. Well, we're going to hold off on that. We'll get this one out of the way right now. So this is just kind of a thing I had pop into my head earlier. So, Robert, you're going to start the University of Robert. The WTP University is what you're starting. Who are you hiring as your head coach? You can have Kirby Smart or Ryan Day, or I will even give you the option to go with one other.
Man, that's a really tough. Oh my God, that's a tough one. Oh man. Well, I think and I don't want to contradict myself, on an earlier show, I think on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, I said I would start my team with Steve Sarkisian. So I gotta stick with that. I will go with somebody else, and I'll go with Steve Sarkisian, because of what I said on that day. Offensively, man, I know that the offense is going to be good as long as the talent is on that team. You always see a really good offensive productive team under Steve Sarkisian, as long as that offensive line is there and they got the pieces in the skill positions, you know that offense is going to be lights out. But man, it's hard to go against Kirby Smart and a really good freaking defense, bro. Because you know that defense is going to be lights out. And we know how important defense is. Because when you go and look at the last few national champions, the reason why they were national champions because they didn't give up a lot of points. They were in the low teens in amount of points given up each game. So I want to say Kirby Smart, but I don't want to contradict myself and not go with Steve Sarkisian. So I'm going to go with Steve Sarkisian.
I don't blame you. I know exactly you. It was Sunday show when we were doing our preview because I said I would want Mike Elko because of what he's done for the culture change at Texas A&M. However, with this question, I would take Kirby, and my reasoning would be he's got the titles, obviously, so he knows how to win, and he's done it for a long period of time through different genres, so to say. He did it in the quote unquote before NIL era, and he did doing it in the NIL. Now he hasn't won the title with the whole NIL era, but they've been at the top up there near the top almost every year. So being able to go across different eras of college football, I think, and the sustained success he's had there. And we mentioned it on Sunday. I think you mentioned it that, Kirby's coaching tree is growing pretty wide. It's getting a lot of branches on it. Those guys are getting jobs pretty quick elsewhere. So I would lean Kirby Smart if I wasn't going to take Mike Elko. I was just kind of curious because Ryan Day, it's nothing against Ryan Day. He's a hell of a coach. He just doesn't. I think Kirby Smart, and that's the reason I use Ryan Day, because I think Ryan Day has done it in a shorter span, while Kirby's has been more over time. That's why I kind of threw those in, because I figured they would be a good contradiction of each other.
Yeah, those Georgia teams before Kirby got there, they were good football teams, but they weren't national championship caliber teams. He had to build them into a national championship caliber team where we all on this show, we joke, and a lot of people really across the country joke about the fact that Ryan Day started off on third base. So, but Ohio State was already a championship caliber a team before he took them over. So I would definitely go with Kirby for that reason too. If I had to pick between Ryan Day and Kirby Smart, because we've seen him take Georgia from being a good football team, but not a great football team, to being a great football program and a championship caliber program.
Yeah, 100% on that. Georgia was, 9-3 every year. That's kind of where they hung around right there. And he got there, and then he just quickly started flipping it, and it turned. So, 100% on that. Pretty good. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them, to be honest. I could probably have listed 20 coaches, and we could probably make a case for all of them, to be honest. Right. So, Poe, I guess that's Poe in the chat, right? Yeah. Kirby. He even said Kirby. So, and I wasn't trying to, I should have justified, I wasn't trying to make post game mad when he rewatches this by not mentioning Marcus Freeman, because I think Marcus Freeman's a hell of a coach too.
Yeah, me too.
So don't get mad at me post game. Up here, we had this show last night with actually we're going to stick with college football. I forgot I had two more in there. If Colorado doesn't make a bowl game this year, should they move on from the Deion experiment?
I don't know that there's a case where Colorado can move on from Deion Sanders, because we already know what Colorado was before Deion Sanders got there. And I think Colorado has to understand that this is all about being a marketable brand, and Deion Sanders makes Colorado a marketable brand being there. So right now they should only be really concerned with how much dollars and cents we can bring into this university, because you're not going to go out there and get a better coach simply because it's Colorado. So as long as Deion Sanders is there, you're going to be a marketable program, and eventually he'll be able to get some of the coordinators and position coaches that can take him to where he's possibly playing for Big 12 championships and possibly making it to the college football playoffs. Winning a national, I don't think that's going to be in Colorado's cards, but definitely being able to win the Big 12 is possible for him. But I can't see them ever even considering going away from Deion Sanders, because they're never going to be a program that's going to be championship caliber, in my opinion. I just don't think they have the resources to do so.
Well, I mean, they do have a national championship. Of course, it was from like 1990, but they still got one. Deion's buyout somewhere in the 50 million range. I don't think that's something Colorado has laying around like some of the other schools we all talked about before. Could they get it? I'm sure they could, but I think, well, marketable, yes, for 100%. He put Colorado kind of back on the map, and especially that year when he had Shedeur and Travis there. But he's not getting the type of recruits it's going to take, especially when you've got Texas Tech throwing money left and right through this portal. That's going to make it tough. BYU's got money out there. So I'm looking at it thinking if they have like a 3-7, 3-9 year, I think you almost have to kind of start getting the strings ready to cut there, because it's just not going to get much better. And I don't want this to be part of the discussion, but you've got to factor in the health issues he's been having here lately. That's got to play some sort of part in it. And I really hope it doesn't, but I mean, he missed a lot of time last year. And even parts of this, spring and all that stuff. So I don't know. I don't know that they move on if it's this year, but I think in the next 2 years, if he can't get it figured out and they can't start making bowl games, I think Colorado's going to have no choice but to move on. But I do agree with you that Colorado should be happy with the marketability he brought them, because it's not going to be a powerhouse program.
Yeah, if they do move on from him, though, it'll be in his best interest. And then he could probably say, you know what? Let me go ahead and take this time to get myself regrouped, get my health under control, and then let me find another landing spot. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the guy is so freaking marketable, bro, that he could go somewhere and money is going to flow like crazy. Because I know when I went to Colorado Springs and I was talking to some of the people there who are Colorado fans, they said you couldn't even fathom how much money just the state of how Colorado has been, the state has grown financially because of what Deion Sanders has done in Colorado. So, I think he's going to always be a marketable guy. That's why he's prime time.
I mean, 100%. There is definitely no doubt on that. It was just something I heard today on the radio. They were talking about it on college sports radio. I listen to a lot of Sirius XM in the car. So they were talking about it, and they were just bringing all that up, and kind of wondered what everybody's thoughts would be on that. Doug Jones chimed in on it, and he decided to say Colorado is all in with Sanders, but he should go if he can't get to a bowl. A good coach can win there, and that could be a good stepping stone job. I agree you can get to a bowl game there. I agree with Rob that it's not a national championship type program. I will also say this was brought up on when I was listening to the radio earlier. They said that they were talking to a reporter from one of the newspapers out there, and he informed them that season ticket renewals are like at 5% or something. It's terrible. Nobody's renewing their season tickets in Colorado.
That might be writing on the wall then.
Yeah, if you can't get fans to come out for college football, it's not going to be long for you to be a coach at a school.
Mm-hmm.
So, that they like that money that sport brings in a lot. Just something I thought. I think Poe might have he put can't. I think he means they can't move on from him due to the marketing ability of him. They need that money coming in from him. So. I can agree with that too. I just thought it was an interesting little thing I heard today. I know Post Game's in the chat listening, so I'm hoping he pops in on this one. Will Notre Dame with 2 losses be a college football playoff team? Because they have that rule now where if they're in the top 12, they're automatically in, right? So if a 2-loss Notre Dame, does it really matter who those 2 losses are to? Or do you think that, a 2-loss Notre Dame team would be left out? What do you think on that?
Well, I'm of the belief that if Notre Dame goes 10-2 with the schedule that they have this year, because there's only possibly 3 games I think on their schedule that are really games that they could possibly get challenged in and could possibly lose, and I don't see them losing to. I ain't saying they're gonna lose to these teams, but you got Miami, you got BYU, you got SMU. I think if they drop any combination of those games, they lose 2 of those. I don't think they have a strong enough schedule to be in the top 12. Now, I know it's Notre Dame, and I know that, they're one of those teams that they're going to want to get in. But if you look at, and if the strength of schedule means something, and they say it does, I don't think this year's schedule will allow them to get in at 10-2 if they lose to a Miami, a BYU, or BYU and SMU, or they lose to Miami and SMU. I just don't know that they can get in with a 10-2 record with that schedule. So I'm gonna say no, they don't get in at 10-2 with that schedule.
He said 10-2 didn't get it done last season, so we got to go 11-1 or undefeated. No, and then Doug popped in, and Notre Dame is gold with 2 losses with a strong schedule. That's the problem, is people are going to look at the schedule. I'll run through their schedule real fast. They open with Wisconsin. They play Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Stanford, BYU, Navy, Miami, Boston College, SMU, and Syracuse. So you can drop the Miami game, I think. I think if you go that, there's your one. I think if you lose, especially because if you lose to SMU because that's in South Bend, that could be a problem. BYU, you're at least on the road. And a lot's going to depend on what. Those 2 teams are both, supposed to be pretty good teams this year. Not maybe national title contenders, but they're supposed to be really good teams. I think a 10-2 Notre Dame can get in based on who the losses are to. As long as it's Miami in one of those, fine. If they drop 3 games, obviously there's no chance. So, but again, if they lose to BYU and SMU, but they beat Miami, that's a schedule boosting too. So I think that one's going to be pretty interesting how it shakes out based on the schedule. And we're months and months away from all this coming up. So just kind of interesting. And a lot of it was based on because of last year where we had that whole, is it Bama? Is it Notre Dame? Is it Texas? Is it, whatever. And it just so happened to fall that the ACC went into a nosedive and nobody could figure out who to win the conference. And they jumped Miami in. So and next up, we're going to roll into, this is the show Doug and I did last night. We did a bracket breakdown of the women's college softball tournament, which kicks off Friday. So with the start of the tournament, I'm going to give you your choices. You can have the number 1 seed Alabama, the number 2 seed Texas, the 3 seed Oklahoma, or you can have anybody else in the field. Are you taking one of those, or are you taking the field?
Man, I'm taking one of those all day, man. One of them 3 is going to freaking win this freaking national championship. Now, I will say this, though, SEC Sean. I will say this. If Texas A&M makes it to the freaking super regional, whatever it's called, then it might start to look a little bit different. But I do like that Texas Tech team and what they got too. But I'm going with one of these 3, the Alabama, Texas, or Oklahoma will win this thing, man. But there are some really good teams that are still out there in that field that could – you just know how it can go, man. When it comes to baseball and softball, it could go and get ugly, man, and somebody gets popped. But I'm going to go with one of those 3 to win it all. Hopefully it's Texas back-to-back.
He said maybe Oklahoma, maybe Texas Tech. So if anybody that caught the show last night, I went Oklahoma. When their coach comes on the radio, on national radio, and says she really hopes they start peaking soon, that scares me. For anybody that knows anything about Oklahoma softball, if that team hasn't hit its peak yet, you better hope they don't. But I went with Oklahoma to win it all. I don't even have Texas A&M winning their regional, by the way. I have A&M getting beat by Arizona State. Mm-hmm. That's just how I have it. And to be honest with you, Alabama better be on point because they're in a pretty tough region for the number 1 seed with that Belmont team. That Belmont's got that pitcher, Maya Johnson, who congrats to her. I found this out today. Not only is she the best pitcher ERA-wise and all this, she's also battled back from lupus to come back and pitch this year. So shout out to her for that. But Tennessee, man, y'all better watch that girl that pitches from Tennessee. She throws 78 miles an hour, which is equivalent to 106 in baseball. So it's going to be interesting. But I think the question was posed, I think this is another one we talked about, was it, would you take Alabama or the field? I felt like that was narrow too much to go one team versus 64. So I figured, let me throw the top 3 overall national seeds in one and see who will take that. But I think most people would take Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama. UCLA is really good. And Nebraska is super good.
Yeah.
So that's actually my 8 teams that I have making it to the Women's World Series are all SEC and Big Ten schools. So fun little exercise to do. We'll do stuff like this again coming up. We got the baseball tournament. We'll be kicking off in a couple of weeks. And we'll do it again for that for sure. I don't know about this one. It's just, I saw we were 30 days away pretty much. Any interest in the World Cup coming to North America? You know, Mexico, Canada, and the United States all host countries for it. Any interest in it? You get any, excited for the World Cup? I know soccer is a huge sport internationally, globally, I should say. But I mean, it's decent in America. Here in Columbus, you got the Crew, you've got some MLS teams. Messi plays down in Miami. But is it something you keep, do you only worry about soccer, if worried at all, during the World Cup years?
Yeah, I only really pay close attention to it during the World Cup years. But I will say this, I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan. I watched that probably 5 or 6 times, and can't wait till season 4 comes on this summer in June. And so that has sort of piqued my interest a little bit more. We played a lot of soccer when I was younger. We had some really, really good soccer teams when I was younger. And so I liked it then, and just watching Ted Lasso and watching the game, I'm quite sure I'll be really locked in on the World Cup, especially since it's here in the United States. So I know the coverage will be there for it. So I'm interested in it, and I'm excited that it's here in North America, and can't wait to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I like soccer. I've always been a soccer guy. Don't necessarily follow a lot like I used to. I used to be a lot more into it. Watched a lot of English Premier League games, and when I worked oil fields down in Texas for a while, a lot of the guys down there like to watch soccer out of Mexico, watching a lot of that. So it was, it's always been a fun sport. The thing I think that hurts soccer is people in the United States, especially, don't have the patience to sit through 90 minutes or whatever it turns into be with stoppage time for one goal to be scored the entire game. They're just like, okay, they're just passing the ball around. Nobody's doing anything. That's what I think the biggest problem is. I wish there was a way they could make scoring more, opportunistic, I guess. I don't know what that would be. Again, there's people way smarter than me that could probably figure it out. But, there's some, it's a pretty interesting sport to watch. I'm going to be tuned in to it. I really watch a lot of World Cup when it's even no matter where it is, but especially with it being in the United States, access will be a lot better. I know Doug popped in and said he's excited. Houston is going to be hosting some games. I think Cincinnati's got a couple. I don't think Columbus got any this year, but I think Cincinnati might have 1 or 2. I'll have to look. I'll ask my buddy Adam tomorrow. He's a huge soccer guy. He can name you players off like the Netherlands and stuff. So I'll ask him tomorrow about that. I only watch World Cup and Olympics for soccer as Doug also. And that's kind of what I get at. I like the men's national team. I like the women's national team. But, it's just neat, I think, to see it here. So we'll see how it plays out. We've been going about 45 minutes here. I don't know if you guys, I don't see anybody else in the comments. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to bring up, anything pique your interest.
Well, yeah, the people that's out there in the chat, can y'all see that poll? Can y'all see that clearly? Has anybody had a chance to interact on it yet? We put a poll up. SEC Shot, could you read off what that poll says?
Well, I mean, I can bring it up on the little thing on the side. I don't know if it's in the comments. I don't know if they can see it in the comments. But I can bring it up over here under the little tab on the right-hand side of our screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it, it doesn't look like anybody's voted on anything. That's why I'm trying to figure out how this works. This is something we're playing with, y'all. So bear with us. We're going to have to do some more digging into how it works. But I mean, I've got it up on the screen. It doesn't. Let me see.
Parlay Poe said he can see it. Are you able to vote on there, Parlay Poe?
Yeah, he just voted. You just voted for AJ Dybantsa, I'm assuming. Okay,
cool.
Yeah, so he voted for AJ. So we know it works. I just, this is going to be something fun. We need to try to come up with a poll almost every day if we can come up with one for a show, just to kind of get some more interaction from people and give people a chance to vote. And then at the end of the show, we can run down the results. Doug, can you see it? Can you vote? Can you vote for somebody besides AJ? Trying to see if Doug can vote so we can see if it works here. And Doug may have jumped off too. I don't know. But anybody else that wants to vote, please jump on and vote. Just, so we can see what's going on with this thing.
Yeah. I got a couple of things I would like to get your thoughts on though once you finished.
I want to say just real quick, I want to make sure we take a minute here to give some thoughts and prayers out for the family, friends, teammates, anybody that knew Brandon Clark, who passed away. Apparently he passed away last night at 5 p.m.-ish, around there sometime. I got the news on it this afternoon is when I saw it. So anybody that knew Brandon Clark, basketball player for the Memphis Grizzlies, played at Gonzaga, keep his family, friends, all of them in your thoughts and prayers. Don't have any details on it. Wouldn't share them if I did. It's not my place. Just, wanted to mention that, it's sad when somebody 29 years old passes away, no matter what the circumstance is were. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody. Keep that in your thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. I think something very interesting that Steve Sarkisian said in an interview that he did, I think it might have been yesterday or a few days ago. And he was saying that he feels like all of this going back and forth about 16 teams, 24 teams is a little bit too much. Let's just take the conference champions, and because they're probably the 4 best teams in the country, and just have them play for, in the college football playoffs. Now, we all know that that's probably not the best formula, because we just watched a Miami team who did not win the ACC make it all the way to the national championship game, right? So we know that that's probably not the best formula, but we I think, can get a picture of where he's getting at, because he doesn't want it to get too out of control to where you got all of these teams playing in this college football playoffs when the majority of them don't really have a chance of winning the national title, because they're not quite as good as maybe the top 4, 5, 6, 8 teams that are going to make it to the college football playoffs. So I want to get your thoughts on him talking about that, just taking the conference champions and being and playing for the national title. And then also he I guess he was expressing his sentiment towards the NCAA and how they have dropped the ball on some things. And he feels like the SEC should go ahead and move away from the NCAA and either start a whole new conference or start a whole new, almost like a whole new league, and just move away from NCAA and come up with their own rules and policies and things, and do it that way. Which sounded to me like maybe he has some inside thought on the fact that maybe we will be getting two super teams at some point once these TV deals are done. So I think they might be having some discussion about that in some of these back rooms. Because once this TV deal was done in like 2031, maybe they're thinking about doing something like that. So, what's your thoughts on those two things that I just mentioned?
Hit the wrong button. Really not the comment I thought you were going with when you started off with Steve Sarkisian. I thought you were going to go to the other one. I'm going to bring that one up, though.
Okay.
We'll get to that one in a minute, though. I see his point. It'll never happen. There's too much money involved with 12 teams. We all know this. 4 teams is not a good idea. I don't like the conference champions at all. Because a lot of times your runner up in the SEC or Big Ten is going to be better than the ACC champion. And that's no knock at the ACC with Florida State and Miami. I know Miami went to the title, but Miami didn't win the ACC. Duke did. And you can't tell me that an Ohio State team wouldn't have beat Duke. So, and then you also throw in the mix what happened. Notre Dame would be forced to join a conference then, if you really think about it, without them being in a conference. So that'll never happen. Do I want it to expand to 24? No. I don't want it to expand to 16. I'll take 16 if we go there, if they adjust the way the calendar works, because it's not functioning right now. It's not right. There is no way that these coaches should have A, 20, 30 days off between a game. B, a coach is not only, hey, we got to prep for, Miami, but I got to hit the portal and go get these 7 guys because we're going to lose these 7 guys. Something needs to go away. I get rid of the early signing period in December. I go back to one signing period, put it back like it used to be in February, leave it there. That's my take on it. But that's, again, going to have to be discussed. But the calendar has to be fixed if you're going to expand, because we can't keep playing till end of January, guys. This is getting, out of hand. It's an NFL season is what it is. And granted, I know they're paid like NFL players, but that's not the point. So I don't want it to get too big, but I could be okay with 16. But I still like the 12 model we have now. I like the 12, get rid of the group of 5. Get that automatic bid out of there. In my mind, that. So, and I'm sure we're going to discuss this a lot more coming up in football season as we go forward. So that's on that. What else? What was the second part of that question?
The SEC parting ways with the NCAA and possibility of some super teams. Super conferences.
Super leagues. It makes sense for Sark to say this because everybody believes he's the first SEC coach out of the league going to the NFL. So it doesn't really affect him in his mind. So he can say it. You're not going to get that out of an Elko or Kirby. They're probably telling it to Greg Sankey, who has no problem saying it out loud, because sometimes Greg Sankey just needs to shut up. But I don't know. I don't know if we're heading to 2 super conferences. I think we're trending towards 1 super conference. I think we're trending towards your top 6 to 8 to 6 teams out of the SEC, maybe 6 out of the Big Ten, maybe your top 3 or 4 out of the ACC and 3 or 4 out of the Big 12 form up. And maybe they split that into 2 divisions, a North and a South, East and West, whatever we want to do. And the winner of take the top 4 teams and they play the number 1 seed plays the 2 seed, the 2 seed plays the 1 seed, and the winners play each other for the national title. Something like that I could see. But we're trending towards it. The media rights deals are going to be a big thing, but I think that's been proven that these schools in the Big Ten and SEC especially would have no problem just cutting a check to pay off the media rights. And then turn around and get media rights for the super conference games that they're going to charge even more for, because now you're getting blue on blue. You're getting Ohio State, Michigan. You're getting Ohio State, Penn State. You're not getting Ohio State, Rutgers. You're not getting Texas, Kentucky. You're not getting these, low-level football programs versus the blue bloods. You're getting blue blood on blue blood. You're getting best of the best every single week and multiple matchups every single week, not just one. So I think the media rights are going to go astronomical. And as much as I hate to say it, it's probably going to go straight streaming at that point. It's going to be on some sort of streaming service, which, whatever. It's a drug and we're all addicted. So we're all going to be standing in line trying to figure out what we can sell or pawn to get the streaming service for that weekend's games. We all know we're going to do it. The pawn shops will be over full of stuff. So that's how I feel about it. I think we're leaning towards it. I don't think we're going to go to 2 super conferences. I think we're going to go to 1, and probably somewhere around 24 teams. And you're going to just have a battle royal every weekend until you figure out how to win, who the winner is.
That's interesting.
But, yeah. This is going to get more interesting. Because the 2 power brokers here, the SEC and the Big Ten, can't figure out who's right and who's wrong. Nobody wants to give an inch. Greg Sankey is the SEC is the greatest conference in the world. The Big Ten commissioner, pardon me, I don't remember his name. He thinks the Big Ten's the best conference in the world. So they want this, we want this, they want it. It's just a lot of he said, she said. I don't know who's going to run a super conference as the commissioner. I really don't know, because I don't think that they could agree on who it should be. But that'll all be done later. We'll figure it out from there, but we'll have to wait and see. It's an interesting concept. I think we're trending towards it. I just don't know when. But I know you saw there's been so much stuff going back and forth for some reason with these SEC schools this week, man. We're not even at media days, and we're just ripping each other apart. You've got Lane Kiffin throwing shots at Ole Miss. I'm not going to get into them. You can look it up yourself if you want. You've got Golding throwing shots at people. You got John Summerall, who's new to the league, throwing shots at Steve Sarkisian. Telling him because he was an assistant at Ole Miss. But to go into that art, Steve Sarkisian made the comment that when you come to the University of Texas, no matter how close you are to graduation, your credits go back to 50%. And you have to earn your degree from Texas. And he mentioned if you want to get a quick, pretty much, I'm going to paraphrase his quote. Pretty much, if you want a quick, easy degree, go get you a degree in basket weaving from Ole Miss. And then John Summerall, who comes in, who was an assistant at Ole Miss before, said, well, it's cool. At least I coached at a program that you can get a top 10 degree in basket weaving from. So media days ought to be fun in the SEC. Be sure you have the SEC network and keep it recording and locked in, because I don't know what's going to go on there. It's normally a really interesting thing. Like when they introduced Mike Elko 2 years ago and they introduced Steve Sarkisian and played the A&M War Hymn. That didn't go well, but so, I mean, the back and forth, it's all fun. There's really no debate on it. What do you take from it? Just guys just having fun, making comments, saying stuff? I mean, do you think there's anything deeper here?
I don't think it's anything deeper, man. I just think these guys are just bringing some attention to college football and the SEC outside of the college football season. So I think they're just good because when you really think about Lane Kiffin and the stuff that he does, you know that Lane Kiffin is going to do that kind of stuff. But does he really mean anything by it? No, it's Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin. Like Steve Spurrier used to just be Steve Spurrier, man. He's just going to do something. So I don't think so. And then when I think about Steve Sarkisian, who was the coach of my Texas Longhorns, I know he's not really, trying to really poke the bear or anything like that. I think he's just being facetious. But I think he said that because of the fact that whenever they was recruiting Arch Manning, supposedly Pete Golding said something about Steve Sarkisian's past history with alcohol to Arch Manning during that recruitment. So maybe he was looking for a window to get his own shot back in. So that's probably why he did that. And then, of course, Florida's coach, right, was the one who chimed in, right?
Summerall, I believe he went to Florida. Yeah, from
Tulane. He went to Florida. So
yeah.
Of course, if you were there at Ole Miss, of course you're gonna have something to say too. So I think it's just all in good humor, man, and them just bringing some more exposure to, I guess, the SEC. I don't take it like it's something personal between any of them coaches, because I'm quite sure behind closed doors they all trading secrets.
Yeah, I mean, they're all. I think it's tongue-in-cheek fun. I think they're poking the bear a little bit, but I don't think Sarkisian means it in a way that it's going to be construed, which it has been. I've seen stuff to where he's saying that Ole Miss isn't a reputable. He's not trying to say they're not a reputable school and getting a degree from there is no good. Obviously, a degree from the University of Texas is probably looked upon a little different than most other universities. A degree from A&M, a degree from Notre Dame, Ohio State. These are looked upon differently than some of the others. But I don't think Sark is out there saying Ole Miss is a terrible university and you only go there if you don't want to put in work in the classroom. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he made a comment to rebuttal Golding's thing. And then, Summerall, of course, jumped in and chimed in, which is funny that he's the first-year coach in the SEC and he's already starting to throw jabs. I want to tell him, brother, you might want to back down a little bit. You might want to win a few games before you start that. So, every day is something different in that conference, man. I'm telling you, I don't know anymore. But it's all fun. I thought it was pretty funny myself. Basket weaving. My dad used to tell me I was going to be good for a degree in underwater basket weaving. That's what he told me. Yeah, I told him it wasn't even true because I didn't like holding my breath that long. So, I mean, I don't know. Just kind of funny story. So, I don't really have much else. It's just kind of we're in that weird time of sports to where we're kind of, if you're not big into college softball and baseball, I know the NBA playoffs are going on and you've got baseball season, but nobody really gets into baseball too much if you're going to follow pro baseball till after the All-Star break, at least, when you kind of start seeing how your teams are doing. And the NHL is kind of still one of those sports. I watch a lot of it, but it's just we're kind of in that weird mode of sports where you just got to kind of find things to talk about. So I just, it was a good idea just to throw together a random, wide open smorgasbord of whatever we wanted to talk about tonight, and just let it kind of go from there. I'm trying to see, did we get any more? Nope, still only one vote on our poll. At least we have a vote on our poll. I guess that's better.
At least we know it's working.
Yeah. How it works, don't know, but it worked. So if you don't have any other topics you want to hit on or anything else, we'll go ahead and we'll let you plug all the socials and medias and all of that good stuff, and then we'll go ahead and shut her down for the evening.
All right, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in to our Tuesday night sports talk. Make sure that you check out all of our channels. Scrolling down there at the bottom inside that highlighted purple, that's everyone who comes on and presents some kind of content on our shows. Please go and subscribe to each individual channel, because we all, even though we come on as WTP Sports Dudes, we all have our own individual channel, and we would love for you to subscribe and support us on our individual platforms. So please do that. Also, check us out on Patreon and Spotify at WTP Sports Dudes 2026. If you're just in your car rolling, check us out so you can hear the audio. And also, if you want to read some of our content on our website, you can go to WTPSportsDudes.com. Please go check us out there so that way you can respond and send us an email responding to some of the topics that we got and some of the questions that we got in our website. Also, if there's something that you want us to talk about on our website, please give us that information, and we'll be glad to do an article on that as well. So thank you for tuning in and enjoying our show, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
100%, everyone. And I'll throw this out there because sometimes it's kind of hard to search on Spotify for the podcast. But if you open up Spotify and you click on podcast under search and type in WTP Sports Dudes 2026, the logo should be like a little picture of a bunch of different sports, I believe is what I used for the logo. You can find it. All these get processed over to Spotify after the show. After it's done, I go in and I move over to Patreon and put it onto Spotify through Patreon. You can find all of the comments on there. You can even go through Patreon and there's a link that'll take you right to Spotify and take you right to it. So you can go that way too. There's Anthony Manzano, our buddy. He popped in. Caught us right at the tail end tonight, Anthony. Hope to catch you coming up. Well, you've always got some good, insightful takes from Miami down there, big hurricane guy down there. What do you say real quick? He feels the NBA screwed Miami. Charlotte knew that Scary Terry was going to get investigated by the FBI for gambling, yet they didn't tell Miami before the trade. Well, possibly. I haven't followed that case well enough to keep up with it. Those gambling cases kind of just flooded my mind, and I just kind of put them all to the back burner because it's all we heard about for so long. So, but most definitely enjoy your content and your input with your Hurricanes and some of the ACC stuff down there. So most definitely look forward to you jumping back in as we creep towards football season a little more. But other than that, I'm going to jump out of here. We're going to jump out, call it a night. Like he said, go like, subscribe, hit the notification bell too on each of the pages, and you'll know when we're going live. We try to go every day, but you don't want to miss an episode because, again, this is fixing to be the greatest show on Tube. So other than that, Rob, I appreciate you jumping in with us. Pretty good back and forth little banter there, and go have a good rest of your evening, and we will catch up again later on. So as we always tell everybody, we'll We're leaving the building. Where we was in the building is what with T1. We was in the building. Now we're out of the building. No, you got to gig them. You got to gig them, brother. You can't be doing that. All right. Peace.
All right. Peace.